I know it's only the first week of October, but today I want to talk about a Christmas movie. Anna and the Apocalypse is a zombie Christmas musical. Our lead protagonist, Anna, is a British teenager who, of course, has lost her mother, and she is trying to navigate the world of the fresh zombie apocalypse. Before we get too deep into the meaning of this film, let's go over the plot. The movie opens on Anna and her best friend John in the backseat of her dad's car on their way to school. She has a secret from her dad, and John can't help himself but spill the beans that she is not going to university next year, but instead going to find herself in Australia. When we get to school, we meet the main antagonist of the film, Savage. He is going to be the new headmaster after Christmas break, and he is very into the power that he wields over not only the students at the school, but also the personnel, such as Anna's dad, who is a janitor. We meet all of the other characters. We have Steph, who is the American girl abandoned by her family and her girlfriend. We meet Lisa and Chris, who are a dating couple who are just very, very into each other. And we meet Nick, who is a guy that Anna has been with in the past. It's a little bit unclear, but she has residual feelings for him, even though he's very mean and rude and bad. He's not a nice guy. The students are preparing for the holiday talent show, and Savage just really wants to control everything. We get a couple songs that all basically amount to different versions of the I Want song for this musical. It kind of makes it feel like this movie is supposed to be about maybe love, maybe success, maybe getting out and doing your own thing. It's not very clear, and as a result, the meaning of this movie is going to suffer, but we get to spend some time with the kids and some of the adults here and there as we go through this day at school. Then Anna goes to her job at the bowling alley, where she sees people drunkenly reveling for the holidays. The next morning, as Anna walks to school this time, she throws on her headphones and has a nice little dance on her way, completely oblivious to the zombies around her. This is very reminiscent of Shaun of the Dead. She finally runs into her best friend John in the cemetery, and they dance at each other until they finally get close enough to get attacked by a zombie. They pop his little head off and have a little bit of a freak out. Anna and John seek shelter at the bowling alley, where they find Chris and Steph. They have to fight off the drunk revelers, who of course have turned into zombies, and eventually they decide that they have to leave the bowling alley and get to the high school, where the military has told them that they should meet up. Naturally, their plan goes sideways and they have to get bailed out. Luckily, Nick is there with an awesome power ballad. The gang rolls out and heads to the high school. On the way, John expresses to Anna that the one positive thing about the zombie apocalypse is that now she's not going to go to Australia. He's glad that she gets to stay there. That's when she drops this on him.
John, you're my best friend, yeah? You know that.
Of course.
John. You're my best friend.
Anyway, in a very contrived scene, the gang decides to cut through an indoor tree store, I think? It's a little bit confusing. Either way, both John and the two cronies of Nick get eaten by zombies on the way. The surviving members of the group make it to the high school, only to find that Savage has imprisoned all of their loved ones. After Savage has a wild villain song, they overcome him and start to make an exit strategy. Steph has a car, but Savage took her keys the day before at school, so she has to go into his office and fetch them. Unfortunately, there is a entire ocean of zombies standing between her and her car keys. So Kristen and Lisa decide to distract the zombies. In the end, they die together. Anna has it out with Nick and they resolve their issues. Anna and her dad then feed Savage to the zombies, but Dad gets bitten.
Dad!
Anna and Nick have to leave her dad behind, and when all hope seems lost outside of the school, Steph shows up with her car. They ride off and survive this leg of the apocalypse. So I'm going to shake up the format a little bit this time and not lead with the meaning, because I kind of want to start by heaping on some praise, because there is quite a bit of good stuff in here. For technique, let's talk about the musical aspects specifically, because even though most of the songs don't actually advance the plot that much, and they're mostly just relatable emotions that get communicated in the songs, they're all so catchy and very fun, and a couple of them even kind of feel like Christmas songs. It's not great as a Christmas movie, it's also not great as a horror movie, but the music is good. This is my main concern when it comes to the technique in this one. I like the camera work, I like the gore effects, lots of stuff is really fun in here. So I'm going to say it gets a 7 for technique from me. Also, the singing performances, specifically from Sarah Swire, the person who plays Steph, are really great. Her voice specifically is wonderful. How scary is this movie? For zombie comedy, it's pretty good. It has the right amount of jump scares, good gore effects. It will make you cringe here and there, and the scene where the kids get killed in the tree maze is pretty effective. The real antagonist of the film, of course, is Savage, and he is positively demented. The actor is the same guy who played Thoros of Myr in Game of Thrones, and he really commits to this character, and I'm a fan. Let's give this one a 7 out of 10. 7 out of 10 for scariness. How fun is this movie? Well, obviously, they took tons of inspiration from Shaun of the Dead. It's not as good as Shaun of the Dead, but it's not an Edgar Wright film, so that's fair. But the quality of the music, the fun characters, and the funny situations that they get themselves into, it works. Killing zombies with a candy cane is funny. Escaping with a little baby pool ball pit over their heads was very funny. At one point, John accidentally throws a shoe and knocks out the cleaning lady at the bowling alley. Hilarious. Of course, John also has some very cringy puns. Insert puns here. Ultimately, how much fun did I have watching this? I'm going to give this a 6. I definitely think that this film is above average fun, but the aping of Edgar Wright without actually being Edgar Wright makes me take away a point, so 6 out of 10. Finally, let's talk about the meaning of this film. For me, a Christmas movie is usually one that focuses on family. And yes, there's a little bit of family stuff. Of course, the mom is dead, the dad has high expectations of Anna, she wants to do something different, they reconcile in the end. That's nice. But it's not really the focus, and it doesn't really build that much. It's bog standard. A couple of the songs would have you believe that this movie is about love. But again, that's not really where I come down on this one. My take on this film is that it's about politics. I know it's not actually about politics, but as a metaphor, I like to think of it this way. So, in light of our current 2020 Christmas situation, what year? No, it's October. But in light of our current 2020 situation, it's got me thinking about different people's approaches to the apocalypse and what it means to approach it in these ways. And when I thought about it that way, I started to recognize that each character kind of embodies a different type of philosophy in approaching governance. So, let me break it down for you. And you obviously can disagree. Talk to me in the comments. That would be great. Watch this movie. It's on Amazon Prime. It's good. But let's go through some of the characters. Unfortunately, Anna is kind of our weakest character. She's actually just pretty selfish in terms of her approach to the apocalypse. She ultimately just wants to get home to her family. And while that is a fine goal for a person in the apocalypse, as a political symbol, it's kind of nihilistic, which is fine, because I'm more interested in the others. Nick is a very interesting character. He comes from a military family, and his philosophy is that might makes right. The man who can swing the baseball bat hard enough at the zombies to make them die, well, he's the one who should be in charge. So he just charges headfirst into any altercation because he knows that as a leader, he should be in charge. By contrast, Savage is much more interested in institutional soft power. He is still quite reactionary and really loves to wield his authoritarianism over people, which he loved to do before the zombie apocalypse happened. But as things start to heat up, he starts to grab more and more power. Chris is also an interesting character. He films things, and that's actually the reason he was with Steph when they got trapped in the bowling alley. So he goes through the movie documenting the things that are happening around him because he wants to show the world. This is more of a neoliberal approach to navigating through the apocalypse. He's not really focused on solving anything, but he also wants to be the one that gives the legacy to the next generation of people. Again, don't really do anything but provide information. Steph is a nihilist. She has lost everything before the zombie apocalypse, and so she is kind of just floating, unsure of where she's going to go. But that brings me to my favorite character, Lisa. Yes, Lisa is obsessed with Chris. She takes it too far. She creates this whole song for him to sing at the talent show because she wants to display her love for Chris. It's what she is all about until the zombie apocalypse. And that is when her entire focus as a character shifts from Chris to mutual aid. She starts to care for the elderly woman with a heart condition who works at the school. Her whole arc automatically shifts on a dime to show her helping others. She's not worried about the power grab by Savage. She's worried about Chris, but she mostly wants to help the people who are most vulnerable. This movie is a lot of fun to think about in this political lens because, of course, in 2020, October, we are dealing with an apocalypse of our own, and we are seeing these attitudes and actions being played out across governments around the world, but especially here in America. I'm personally lucky that I have fallen in with a crowd who thinks more along the lines of Lisa, people who want to look at what tangible good they can do in the world right now. All of this said, none of that seems to be intended by the movie, so for meaning, I'm going to give it like a 4, whatever, no big deal. So 4, 6, that's 10, plus 14, that's 24. Alright, so our total comes to 24 out of 40. It's a good movie. I actually do recommend watching it, but for my horror scale, it just doesn't score that highly. Did you watch this movie? What do you think? Maybe you should. I mean, I know that we've still got a couple months until Christmas, but, you know, you can kind of watch it anytime you want. Alright, thanks for sticking with me through this. It was a lot of fun. Thanks for putting up with my stupid October joke, because obviously I didn't make these videos that fast, but please do subscribe to the channel. I want to keep making videos, but I want people to watch them. So, you know, anybody who likes horror films, maybe even Christmas movies, send them on my way. We can talk about movies. We can make plans for the future. Do come by the stream at twitch.tv/conquestoffred. We play video games, we do some art, all kinds of stuff over there. Finally, please do have the best holiday season that you possibly can. I know that things are bleak this year and a lot of us are lonely, so reach out to the people that you can and get the support that you need, because I know that this is a hard time of year for a lot of people already in the best of times, and today is not the best of times. Happy wishes. Merry Christmas. Have a great night. Is it night? Is it nighttime where you are? Whatever. Bye. The next morning, Sarah? No. Sarah is the name of one of the actors. Not even a character. Okay.